In the rural village of Shivpur, you can learn a lot about a household's power dynamics before the sun even comes up. Inside the mud walls of Ram Prasad's home, there is a strict, unwritten hierarchy, and it operates entirely on forced labor. At the very bottom of that hierarchy is 17-year-old Gauri. Her day begins in the dark. She hauls water, tends the livestock, burns her fingers serving hot milk, all while absorbing a constant stream of verbal abuse from her stepmother, Kamala. Gauri's labor is the engine that keeps the house running. Contrast that with Kamala's biological daughter, Radhika. She sleeps until noon and complains if her tea is the wrong temperature. Radhika contributes nothing to the household economy, yet she is treated as a guest in her own home. Over time, she even begins to mimic her mother's disdain for Gauri, treating her older sister like a hired servant. This environment creates a dangerous psychological trap. Both girls are being taught a specific metric for success, that comfort and dominance are the signs of personal worth, and that labor is a punishment meant only for those without power. When a respected schoolmaster brings a favorable marriage proposal for Gauri, Kamla immediately shuts it down. She cannot stand the thought of her stepdaughter entering a secure, comfortable family. Instead, she quietly orchestrates a different plan to ensure Gauri remains at the bottom of the social ladder. This split-screen logic tree shows the two exact marital trajectories Kamla engineers. Gauri is married off to Mohan, a peasant farmer from a neighboring village carrying heavy debts and living under a leaky roof. Radhika is sent to a family with multiple properties, cars, and significant social status. But the top-line numbers hide the actual value of these arrangements. When Mohan admits his financial struggles up front, Gauri recognizes his honesty. She makes a decision to value his integrity over immediate comfort. Meanwhile, Radhika's luxurious arrangement comes with a hidden risk. Her in-laws value money over people. Kamla believes she has guaranteed her biological daughter a perfect life while ruining Gauri's future. The question is whether Kamla's definition of wealth will hold up when the family's character is actually tested. When Gauri arrives at Mohan's mud house, she doesn't spend time mourning her circumstances. The very next morning, she is already sweeping the courtyard and cooking breakfast. She treats the impoverished house as a starting point, not a dead end. She immediately applies that energy to the land. Gauri identifies the barren patches behind the house and turns them into productive plots. She plants crops like tomatoes, okra, and coriander, turning every square inch of available soil into a viable asset. This is where their economic rise begins. Gauri and Mohan operate as a team. He heads to the fields, and she joins him. When their first vegetable harvest is ready, Mohan takes it to the morning market, returning with the first surplus capital the family has seen in years. The returns on their labor accumulate. Within a few seasons, they pay off the father's debt. They purchase more livestock to increase their yield, and eventually they replace their leaky roof by building a secure, permanent home. Kamala meant to punish Gauri with poverty. Instead, Gauri took that situation and built a profitable life from the ground up. She proved that wealth can be generated through action, even when none is inherited. Back at the wealthy estate, Radhika's life follows a different path. The material comfort is immediate, but so is the emotional hostility. Almost as soon as the wedding festivities end, her in-laws begin to treat her as an outsider who brought too little to the table. This flowchart maps Radhika's economic trap. Bringing no independent skills, she relies entirely on their initial wealth. This total reliance leaves her vulnerable. When her husband's business takes a hit, the loop fractures. He demands 10 lakh rupees. Without that cash, her position disappears instantly. Radhika's marriage is exposed as a gilded cage. Without any skills or financial independence of her own, she has no leverage against her husband's demands. Word of Radhika's situation eventually reaches the neighboring village. The moment Gauri hears about the abuse, she and Mohan drop their work and travel straight to the wealthy estate. Gauri faces down the husband and his mother in their own courtyard. When they demand money in exchange for Radhika's safety, Gauri makes a different argument, that a home built on greed is not a home worth staying in, and that respect cannot be extorted. She doesn't wait for their permission. Gauri takes Radhika by the arm and leads her out of the house. For the first time, Radhika chooses her sister's strength over her husband's property, leaving the mansion behind. The power dynamics have reversed. The sister who was sent away to a poor life now has the resources and the resolve to rescue the sister who was trapped by wealth. When Kamla and Ram Prasad arrive at Gauri's farm, the contrast is impossible to ignore. They find a thriving homestead with new construction and healthy livestock, but they also find Radhika, who has been stripped of the status her mother worked so hard to buy her. Kamla stands in silence as she looks at the evidence of her own failure. The daughter she pampered is broken, while the daughter she tried to ruin is presiding over a prosperous, peaceful home. The material security she thought she had bought for Radhika has vanished. The weight of the situation forces an apology that Gauri can barely get out. Gauri listens to her stepmother's stuttered admission of guilt and offers a quiet, pragmatic forgiveness. She doesn't erase the past, but she allows the family to sit together at the same table. The visit ends with a clear understanding of what has happened. Gauri's household is built on labor and honesty, while Radhika's was built on an unstable pile of cash and expectations. Gauri knows that rescue is only the first step. To ensure Radhika never has to rely on someone else's greed again, she has to help her sister find a way to sustain herself. Using the surplus from their recent harvests, Gauri buys a professional sewing machine. She sets it up in the center of the house and begins the long process of teaching Radhika how to sew and draft patterns. Radhika begins taking orders for the village. Slowly, she stops being a dependent guest and becomes an earner with her own reputation. The labor she once looked down upon has become her only reliable source of security. The two sisters now sit together on the porch, both looking out at the land they have worked. They have replaced the illusion of inherited wealth with the reality of what can be built through honest work and unyielding self-reliance.